we're talking about some of the... look, I got to say this right up front. Devil May Cry was one of my favorite games last year for the PlayStation 2. Unbelievable.
Mine too. You know, Tommy, we're really excited to bring Devil May Cry 2.
Devil May Cry 2 is what we're talking about.
Yeah, but the best part is Dante kicks ass more than ever before. He climbs up walls this time. He does backflips. He's got more ammunition. He's got more super moves and special abilities, and his demon power kicks ass.
And you brought him into the city this time.
Yeah. Yeah, what we wanted to do was open up and have some outdoor environments. The first one, we had a great castle and a great area. Now it was time to open up Dante and let him loose on a city.
Excellent. Now, I've seen some of the cinematics on this game. Unbelievable.
Our developer in Japan is just doing a lot of work on this project. What they wanted to do is achieve twice on everything. Twice the amount of gameplay, twice the amount of environments, twice the amount of CGs, which you were talking about, because they want to really capture the story and the essence of what makes this game fun, so they're adding more. And they're going to keep that sort of Dante, lighthearted, kick-butt attitude that you've always seen.
Well, what I love about Dante and the game was the kind of the simple controls, you know?
Right.
We're going to keep that?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's just not only we're going to keep it, we're going to expand on it. See, of course, to pick Devil May Cry up, it's actually real easy. But as you go through, you're going to learn new moves, new special moves, so you'll be challenged as you go through to get better. And I'll tell you, it's not easy, but if you can execute the backflips, the new demon powers, you'll be able to be successful.
Playing the game so far, what's your favorite part of the game?
You know, what's always been my favorite part of Devil May Cry is Dante and the moves he does. I really love... All right, I'll give you a little secret. Dante runs up the side of a wall. He can jump up, run, and flip over now. That is definitely cool. He can execute a lot of moves that way.
But there's nothing better than being able to whip out a sword and a couple of guns and whoop some ass. I love when you're in the air and you're shooting in the air like this. Throw realism out the window. It's great, though. I love it.
No, the whole point of Devil May Cry 2 is not to... We wanted to create something that you couldn't do in real life. We wanted to create something that used a lot of motion picture type visuals, a lot of every time you execute this move, you're like, oh, look at that. That's what makes Devil May Cry awesome. I love it.
Hey, I'm just sitting here traipsing through the jungle. I've got my Game Boy Advance with me, and I've just finished playing Crash Bandicoot, the huge adventure for the Game Boy Advance, if you can believe it. Now, this is a take on the PlayStation 1 versions of the Crash Bandicoot games, and what's cool is that we've got actually a 3D version of Crash on the handheld. I mean, it almost looks identical to what you're going to find on the PlayStation 1. Now, Crash and some of the other characters are actually 3D polygonal models, and they can move around in 3D space. You've got levels where Crash is running into the jungle, or there's the side-to-side sort of scrolling levels where he may be slipping on ice and bouncing around penguins and stuff like that. Crash can also jump into the water and start swimming with the fish and the sharks and things like that. And then there's, of course, you've got to have Crash getting chased by a giant creature level. You got to have that. In this one, he's getting chased by a giant Yeti, and he's running right at you into the screen, which is really cool to see on a handheld system. Now, the story of the game is kind of silly. We've got Dr. Neo Cortex has shrunk the world into the size of a grapefruit, and Crash Bandicoot and his sister Coco are out chasing after crystals to try to operate the new machinery that will expand the world back to its normal size. You know, it's kind of cute and clever that we're talking about a shrunken world on the Game Boy Advance, but it's really not the story that you're playing this game for. What we're talking about here is lots of great platform action, lots of bouncing on bad guys, lots of crates to destroy. Watch out for the TNT and the nitro crates. You're collecting the Wumpa fruit, you're collecting the crystals, and you'll be playing this one for a long, long time. This is a great Game Boy Advance game. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's called Crash Bandicoot, The Huge Adventure from Universal Interactive, and it's a lot of fun. We've got a bunch of great games to talk about today, including Wipeout Fusion.
The problem with this is it really feels like a really fast, futuristic kart racing game to me. And the problem is...
I'm sold. I'm there. That's exactly what I want. That's
great.
What it delivers, man.
He likes his entertainment spoon-fed.
The thing about Wipeout that sort of sets it apart from other futuristic racing games is the amount of weapons that you have in the game, and they're not just tacked on. The combat isn't just something that is sort of thrown in as an afterthought. You have to have a really good strategy going in. You need to use the shields. You need to drop mines. You need to use that quake thing so you can disrupt the whole field ahead of you.
And I wish that the camera angles could get a little higher so that you can actually see cars coming up from behind. The problem is they do have different camera angles in this, but they're all like really close, really, really close, and then like really, 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 really close.
The inside the cockpit mode.
Which is useless.
You've got environments that are a lot more fleshed out and a lot more 3D looking. You actually can feel like you're racing through entire cityscapes and stuff like that. The analog thumb control in this game is perfect. It's really great.
One of the things I really disliked about the old Wipeout games was the tracks were very thin.
Right.
And every time you knocked into a wall, your ship would pretty much slow to a halt. This time around, they've widened the tracks, and when you knock into the walls, you don't slow down as much. So that's nice. It keeps the action moving.
You just basically get progressively more difficult tracks, and you can upgrade your craft so that it can go faster.
Well, that was one thing they did this year, too, that's different, is that they've added, there's now 15 vehicles
I love
per
that.
race.
And there's also a new mode called the zone mode, and this is a totally cool idea. You get this sort of prototype anti-gravity vehicle, and you hop into this thing and you go as fast as you can for as long as you can.
The one coolest thing that I liked about this game, and I hope more games like this do this, you actually get a code at the end once you've completed. You can go on the Wipeout website and put the code in, and it ranks you all the best players in the whole world.
Awesome.
I give it a 7.5.
I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10.